What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. The market had another roller coaster type day. We saw a lot of upwards movement, we saw a lot of downwards movement, and the market was all over the place. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Russia updates, some big stocks to watch for the rest of this week, and some important news. So stick with us, and Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, Mike, this Russian news is getting crazy. Gold keeps pushing higher as this news keeps accelerating, but so much news was coming out today. It was actually kind of hard to keep up with, but there was actually a really good article that the New York Times put out, and we can see that there's a big list of stuff that they covered. We can see Russian and Belarusian jets flew near the Ukraine border, adding to fears. Satellite and images showed videos that show the scale of Russia's military buildup right now, which is insane. Of course, we have the energy markets going crazy as well as gold. But we're just seeing so much tensions right now that it's just really hard to even keep up with all of the news going on. But in the end, it looks like that more than 3,000 U.S. troops, I know, recently deployed to Poland. And, it sounds like that they might be moving around and stuff like that as the week goes on. So definitely lots of stuff affecting the market right now, Mike. And as we can see, the S&P 500 fell off in pre-market and has just been all over. We ran up to 442. We ran right back down to the 436 support. Now we're popping back up. So just looks like another heartbeat monitor type of day.
Exactly, and anything to do with war is always a bad sign for the markets, especially in the short term. As we can see, Tom already beat me to it. Gold prices are really popping up. Silver's also rising, and don't even get me started on crude oil, Tom. That thing just keeps on blasting up. Like, oil prices have been rising a lot over like the past year, but it seems like this Russia-Ukraine conflict is only making oil prices rise that much more.
Yeah, it really is. And this morning, it seemed like oil might have started to take a little bit of a dip back to the downside. And then at the end of the day here, we got a huge explosion back up to $95 a barrel. And a lot of people are honestly eyeing up $100 here pretty soon. And, at this rate, I would not be surprised if we saw it. And yeah, it's just these oil markets are going insane, and it's even affecting the oil companies like Exxon and Mobil. We can see Exxon was really tanking off this morning, and they started recovering back up as oil came up. So these oil plays can be pretty good if you can catch them at the right times. But it seems like as the news comes out, they just keep like reversing out of nowhere. So it's going to be really volatile and hard to play the markets right now, especially I feel like with the S&P 500 that's just kind of flat staying within a range like this.
All right, I just have to point this out really quickly, Tom. So let's go back to crude oil futures for like 10 seconds, and let's look at a max weekly chart. So back in, let me look at the exact date, back in like April of 2020, crude oil futures were trading for $6.50 per barrel. Today they traded for $95 per barrel. From $6.50 all the way up to $95. So it is going crazy. And the market is whack right now. It's hard to believe some of this stuff.
It really is, and that's like 1,300% on the price of oil. That really is crazy when you put that into that type of perspective like that. That is nuts, but it's just continuing to get worse and worse, and we're just honestly seeing continued breakouts here. And like I said, it's been kind of spilling over to the oil stocks, and we can see Exxon and Mobil had a really big rise as oil's been rising up too. And in 2020, they were also kind of down with crude oil. Look at Exxon all the way down at $30. Now they're at 78, almost $80, which has been a pretty big pop for them. And they kind of filled that gap also back to the upside. And it's just crazy to see how oil's been moving. And we've seen it get volatile in the past. If we look back at oil in like 2008, for example, 2007, you can see how it got up to 147 a barrel. I'm not saying we're going to get there again, but that just shows like how crazy it really can get with oil, because it's such a volatile market.
No doubt, Tom. So we're seeing a lot of volatility in the markets overall. What do we have on the schedule for the rest of the week in terms of earnings, but then also just events with the Feds?
Yeah, as far as earnings, we have some pretty good ones coming up here, actually. Tomorrow, we're going to have Roblox after close, which I know that a lot of people have been hyping them up lately. Upstart, Airbnb, and Wynn are also going to be tomorrow after close. I know those are all also pretty big companies. Even VIAC is going to be pretty interesting to look at. And then Wednesday, we have NVIDIA, AMAT or Applied Materials. We have Marathon Oil, TTD in the morning. Thursday, we have Roku. And then, of course, Friday, Mike, we have DraftKings. I know we just cannot wait for DraftKings. I really cannot wait to see their earnings as well as NVIDIA's. And then, like you mentioned, Mike, we do have a lot of big events coming up this week as well, with a lot of the with the FOMC minutes actually on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. But then Thursday and Friday, over those 2 days, we have 5 different Fed speakers speaking. We're going to have quite a bit here. We had Bullard speak today, kind of moved the markets, but overall seemed like the war news really just stole the headlines. But later in the week, these are going to be some pretty important speeches, I think.
Absolutely. And Tom, you can't forget about Palantir on Thursday. Thursday, what is it, after close? Yeah, Thursday before market open, we have good old Palantir reporting. So lots of movement should result with these growth stocks this week. You know, some of the bigger ones, DraftKings and Palantir, are reporting. So definitely be on the lookout.
Yeah, and look at Palantir actually on the daily chart. They've been consolidating a ton down here at the bottom. And, you know, we've been seeing some of the earnings whenever they do well. Some of these beaten down stocks are popping up in a pretty good way. So I hope to see Palantir beat on those numbers, Mike. That would be awesome for them. I know they're one of the companies that we've been waiting for a long time. Can't believe I forgot them right there. But of course, DraftKings is always going to be my favorite. And DraftKings actually took a bit of a tumble today, down 4.8% right after the Super Bowl, whenever I would think a few traders at least would have thought that we might have seen a bit of an uptick, given all the Super Bowl volatility, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like a buy the rumor, sell the news type event. You know, that type of setup. And plus the market being so volatile today with all of the Russia-Ukraine news definitely doesn't help. But Tom, what other news do we have going on in the markets?
There's actually some pretty big stuff with the vaccine stocks, and I just wanted to bring these up. We talked about it a lot in the live stream this morning, but look at Moderna down 11%. And I know they're down 11% today, but let's go out on a max daily chart, and you can really see how much they've been falling down from almost $500 down to 142 where we're sitting now. It's insane to see this one falling off the table. And, you know, Moderna's been going down a lot, but we're even seeing the other big players like Pfizer also falling down. You can see they're falling below $50. And there was a pretty good article out on CNBC today that shows all of this, that shows a lot of the data that came out. And we can see that Dr. Anthony Fauci told the Financial Times last week that the U.S. is exiting the full-blown pandemic phase of COVID-19, which sounds like pretty good news for the overall markets, but it's definitely making these making the vaccine stocks take a bit of a downturn here, Mike. And it looks like Pfizer's actually breaking the $50 support.
Very true. So before we move on, Tom, can you give us some of the key levels to watch on the SPY? I know the market has been all over the place.
Yeah, the SPY has a pretty big support that we've been bouncing off of this morning and actually later in the day at 436. We can see it almost double bottomed here, and then we had this bit of an uptick right at the end of the day. So 436 is going to be a good support to watch. And then actually, I should say in after hours Friday, and then in pre-market today, we bounced a lot right around 442. So if we break out of this range one way or the other, like if we break 442 to the upside, calls might be a pretty good way to go, at least for a quick scalp or a quick day trade. And I think if we fall below the 436 support, it's going to be a pretty good put opportunity. Maybe you can get some VIX calls or something if that happens as well. But those are going to be the main levels I'm looking at for tomorrow for intraday levels. As we start to rise, though, 450 is going to be a big resistance up there.
Alrighty, sounds good. So let's shift over into the member of the day shout out, which is Lil Paul 28. Huge shout out, Paul. Thanks for being a great member of the Stocked Up Discord community. Tom and I really appreciate you. And if you're looking for a free stock chat room, definitely check out the free stock Discord. The link for that is in the description down below. It's completely free and you can network with a bunch of other traders. You can chat with Tom and myself and it's free. So definitely check it out. And then Tom, do you have any last minute plays before we wrap up today's video?
You know, I was really hoping to see some of these reopening plays like the cruise lines and the airlines doing a little bit better. I know that they were kind of weathering the storm and they were doing pretty well last week, but it looks like they are starting to fall back down with this Ukraine and Russia news. So this will definitely be an interesting market to watch. And, with oil prices getting higher, it's just going to cost these companies more and more money. So I'm just going to be interested to see how these ones move. And I'm definitely going to be looking to pick some of these up. And of course, we have those big earnings, though, coming out, Mike. I just wanted to showcase those one more time because we have some pretty big ones tomorrow, like Roblox, Upstart, and Airbnb. And I feel like Roblox is having a very interesting setup right now. They had a pretty good recovery earlier in the day before that major news with Russia hit. So hopefully Roblox keeps this pre-earnings run up going.
Sounds good. And then we can't forget about those momentum plays, Tom. So with the first one, we have Zoom to the upside. So Zoom to the upside.
Yeah, with Zoom, go ahead and make them break out above $148.
All right, with the next one, we have Spotify to the downside.
Yeah, with Spotify, go ahead and make them fall below 160. That looks like a pretty good support there.
And with the last one, we have the powerhouse Microsoft to the downside.
Oh, no, not Microsoft. That's not good to see. Go ahead and make them, wow, they got pretty low in pre-market, but I would honestly just make them break below 290.
All right, so we are watching Microsoft and Spotify for potential day trades to the downside tomorrow, only if they break below the levels Tom listed. And then we are watching Zoom for a potential day trade to the upside tomorrow, only if it breaks above the level Tom listed. But guys, if you liked today's video, please consider subscribing. Tom and myself have some great things in the works for the channel. And if you like our content, just please consider subscribing and let us know what stocks you are watching in the comments down below. We'll probably take a look at them in tomorrow's video, but hopefully the market rebounds tomorrow. And besides that, if you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.